Boys Racing Podcast. We have a very special show for you guys today. Very wet weekend in Dover, Delaware. Going to go all over the race that actually ended just a couple hours ago as we're filming this. And we're also going to talk all about my personal favorite race of the weekend, which was the incredible time that we got to experience at a different Alabama track, Barber. We had a good IndyCar race over in Barber. We got a great show for you today. Joined with, as always, my name is Tristan Grider, and with always joined with my amazing co-hosts Daniel Chaney and Justin Cox. How are we doing today?
I'm doing amazing. We have a big announcement coming here in just a few moments, so just sit tight on the edge of your seats, guys. But I'm doing fine. How about you, Daniel?
I'm doing all right. We had another great weekend of racing. We got a really good announcement coming up. It's a really good day, and I am ready to get into a really good episode.
Yeah, it is. It's been a very exciting time. We've been trying not to talk about this too much, but we are going to finally talk about this now. Jay is going to put our new logo on the screen really quickly for you guys, and so you guys will be able to see that. But we have officially, Indy Boys Racing Podcast has officially partnered with Burnout Sports. So we are officially part of their whole brand and everything. You'll be able to find us on their website, burnoutsports.com. And the show is still pretty much going to be how it is. So nothing like that will change that much. The only thing that's going to change is that we are going to be on their website too. And
the graphics a little bit. So
the graphics will look a lot prettier and stuff, even though Jay does a great job. Jay does an incredible job. But we're really excited for all of the stuff that's going to come together. Big thanks to all the guys that made this possible. Obviously, Jared Sparkman, Tony Donahue, Luke Edwards. It's been incredible getting to work with you guys and get this deal together. And we're super crazy excited that we get to announce this in our favorite month of the year.
Oh, yeah.
Jay, do you have anything to say, man?
Man, I'm just excited. We got a bunch of content coming because we got some special access. Let's just say that right now. We got some special access. We got a bunch of at-track content coming. So just be ready for all that. What about you, Daniel? How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm really excited for this. Obviously, this has kind of been in the works, kind of quietly for probably about a month now, I would say, maybe more than that. So it's kind of nice to kind of have it out there so you guys kind of have an idea of what this big plan that we've been working on was.
Yeah.
I think our content it's going to stay the same type of content, but we're just going to have a lot more quality, and we're going to have a lot more opportunities to work with other content creators. I'm personally really excited for this, and I hope you guys all are too.
Yeah, and from now on in our description, we'll have the link to the Burnout Sports website. So you guys can just go check that out. We're going to add that also in our link tree. That's how a lot of you guys access the shows, through our link tree on social medias. But content's just going to be more consistent. If you haven't been following our TikTok page, our Instagram, or our Twitter at Indy Boys Podcast, it's just what we do. We have a lot of fun stuff planned, and the month of May is upon us, boys. And
oh yeah,
we went out to the track today to pick up some stuff, but it was a pretty good day, I'd say, today, and very excited for this month and what we can do in the future with the show, and just kind of what we're going to build together over at Burnout. It's very exciting. So yeah, that's a really big announcement, and I don't know if any of you guys were expecting that. The only person we actually told that was happening was fellow content creator Darian Gilliam from Black Flags Matter. So that's super cool. But yeah,
he had that classified information.
That he was the only one. He was our classified guy. So super exciting stuff. And yeah, I guess let's just go ahead and transition. I guess let's talk about some Motorsport Media.
Alrighty.
All right, so a lot of news going on over in the NASCAR side. I guess it started a little bit earlier than I thought, but silly season is officially upon us, and NASCAR silly season is insane. So obviously last week we talked about Kyle Busch not having a contract with Joe Gibbs. There is another driver that does not have a contract with Joe Gibbs. It was announced that Martin Truex Jr. does not have a contract extension through 2023. This is his final year. He is in a contract year at Joe Gibbs. So that's crazy that we might not be seeing two of the veterans at Joe Gibbs that have been there since Kyle Busch has been there since 2008. Truex has been in a Toyota since 2015. Like, this is
Weird.
some crazy stuff. Eric Jones, it is likely that he will resign at Petty GMS Racing. There was some rumors that it was possible that he might be moving to a different Chevy team, and that Chevy team that it was announced was, or rumored, I guess. Everything in silly season is rumors. There were some rumors that Eric Jones was going to be going to Trackhouse Racing in a third entry, but Jones wants to stay at Petty GMS, and honestly, I don't blame him. He's been outrunning that equipment and is currently fighting for a playoff spot, so that's super awesome. This is a really cool announcement. As announced on NASCAR on Fox yesterday, Richard Petty, the King, Bobby Labonte, and Bill Elliott are going to join Fox for Throwback Weekend. Richard Petty Stage 1, Bobby Labonte Stage 2, and Bill Elliott's going to round it out in Stage 3 for the Throwback Weekend at Darlington this weekend. It's going to be so cool. That is one of the coolest things ever. And Throwback Weekend is one of my personal favorite weekends, not just for the racing itself, but for the incredible schemes. We're going to talk about that later. But it's going to be a really awesome weekend at Darlington. And finally, I have a couple more announcements. This is just a cool one. So L.W. Wright is known as kind of like the D.B. Cooper of NASCAR. I first heard of him on either a BFM video or on an Iceberg video talking about NASCAR's D.B. Cooper. And he has finally came out of silence. 4 decades he's been in the Sports Hall of Infamy and appeared on the Scene Vault podcast, and it's so cool. Worth a listen. Check it out. And then finally, we'll talk about Dover a little bit more, but some pit road boats and woes, as Stacking Pennies would say. Both Denny Hamlin and AJ Allmendinger will lose their crew chiefs and a couple of the crew members for 4 weeks as both of their tires fell off during the race. So that's all I got over there. Over on the NASCAR side, transition this over to some 500 news. Daniel Chaney.
Okay, so the hunt for 33 cars. Are we there?
No.
Maybe.
Wait.
We
What?
might be.
No way.
While it isn't confirmed, Marshall Pruitt of Racer.com has reported that it is extremely likely that this upcoming week, at some point in the week, there will be a formal announcement to announce the 33rd entry into the Indianapolis 500. While it's not confirmed who this is or what team, they have officially confirmed that Juncos Hollinger Racing is not going to be the team. That's the only team that is confirmed that it is not their involvement. The big rumor that is speculated is that is a co-partnership between Dragon Speed Racing and Cusick Motorsports to provide Stephen Wilson with his Indy 500 seat that has been announced for since December, but just didn't take shape. So I think if this is officially announced, people can finally rest that we have 33.
Yeah. And I feel like once we get 33, we'll get 34, and then we'll get 35, and then we'll get 36. But yeah.
I would say let's just be happy with 33 for now.
I know. There won't be an official
Let's
bump
not speculate
day
36. Let's
Facts,
not
that's
speculate
facts.
36.
Then you never know.
Maybe 34.
Max Chilton might come out of retirement and just be like, "I'm here,
dude.
the 59 is back."
I doubt it.
He said, I doubt it.
Charlie
I think if this is Stephen Wilson, it kind of gets like the big rumored name, his seat that he's basically been rumored to have since December.
Yeah.
I don't know who is left of kind of those big rumored names that will actually have a potential seat. But if this goes through and is real and not just smoke and mirrors, we have 33 finally. We can finally rest. We can finally stop speculating, hopefully. Knock on wood. But I think we might have 33. Jay, do you have any sort of F1 news that you want to talk about?
I only have one thing for F1. So, Christian Gale, or Cameron Gale, my fault. Cameron Gale from Project Dive Bomb reported on this, but Volkswagen announced that Audi and Porsche are ready to make a deal for their involvement in F1, basically. So pretty big announcement, actually. I think Red Bull has kind of worked with, I think it was Audi. I want to say Audi. Just I guess either one in World Rally Championship. So at some point in the future, one of the two teams, I hope it's Porsche. Porsche would be pretty cool. They're going to end up and basically being the engine manufacturer for Formula One. Then we have McLaren. And McLaren says that Audi is reported ready to offer 500 million euros to join their team. They're ready.
Wow.
They're ready. So, as long as McLaren can get out of their Mercedes contract, we could be seeing Audi in F1 within the next 2 years, maybe.
So
That'd be pretty cool. I think that'd be pretty cool. I would love to see another engine manufacturer come into F1. So, yeah, for sure. But that's all I got from my side. So I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, go ahead and.
that's crazy. That's awesome. All right, let's go ahead and let's go in. Pretty solid Motorsport Media there, I would say. Let's go ahead. Let's talk all about these race reviews. We'll start over there with IndyCar.
All right. So this past weekend, IndyCar was in Alabama. They're in Birmingham, Alabama for the gotta make sure I read this right. The Honda Indy Grand Prix of Alabama at Barber Motorsports Park. It's a mouthful, I know. But in this race, we saw Rinus VeeKay get his first pole in 2 years, and the first 2/3 of the race dominated. I think out of the first 60 laps, he led 57.
Damn.
And that is a lot.
That's crazy.
He was
led
pretty
a
much in
lot.
control. He was pretty much in control the first 2/3 of the race.
Yeah.
Ironically, this kind of reminded me of the Indy GP last year, where Grosjean was in first for pretty much the first 2/3 of the race.
Yeah.
I say ironically because that was the race where Rinus VeeKay got his first win. But Rinus VeeKay did not win this race because in the last third of this race, so it was really between him and Pato O'Ward in the first 2/3, and they both pitted at the same time. And on that last lap out of the pits, Pato O'Ward beat Rinus VeeKay, and pretty much from there had him beat the rest of the day. He didn't have much competition until Alex Palou charged up the field, because Alex Palou is just the most consistent man I think ever.
Me and Jay were talking about this. Not to cut you off, but me and Jay watched this race together. And we were talking about this, that we said that Alex Palou is the Kevin Harvick of IndyCar.
The closer.
And
The closer.
maybe like Alex Bowman, Kevin Harvick kind of be like, he's just there.
Yeah.
And there's no way around it. We also said that Graham Rahal is the Eric Almirola of IndyCar.
Definitely.
And it's just like, yeah. Anyway, all right.
I mean, my take on what Alex Palou reminds me of, remember last year Denny Hamlin, where he would never win, but he would always just somehow find a way to just be there, and
top five.
He almost won the regular season championship with no wins.
Yeah.
With no wins.
Alex Palou is
That guy.
currently leading the championship standings and
Insane.
has not won a race. But he's just so good and so consistent that it just keeps happening. And no matter I think he could go without winning this season and potentially still win back-to-back championships with just how consistent he is.
That's bold.
It's bold,
Dude,
but
he's
I've seen
scary
weirder things
consistent.
happen.
He's scary.
I saw Matt
consistent.
Crafton win a truck championship without winning a race. So,
in
I
the
mean,
playoff system.
And if Alex Palou keeps getting top threes, dude, it might be locked. Unless someone comes out and just wins week after week after week.
Yeah.
Alex Palou is going to be a contender, and that is scary for everybody else in that grid. Because Alex Palou is so good. I would honestly say, potentially the most well-rounded driver currently.
Yeah.
I don't want to say he's already the next GOAT or anything, but he's so consistent. He wins a lot. He always finds himself in good position. The one thing that he's not amazing at is qualifying, because he's never won a pole. But I don't think you have to win a pole if you can charge up to second every race.
Hey,
facts.
some guys just need the rhythm. They can't do it in a few laps, like 2 laps. They just need the rhythm. You know what I'm saying? So
Because Scott McLaughlin, not Scott McLaughlin, Scott Dixon, like the big takeaway from him, like this season and a lot of last season, was he always finishes like pretty high, but if he could just qualify well, he would win the championship.
yeah,
Because if you start 10th or whatever, end up 5th. If you started 5th, by that logic, you should be in 2nd or 1st.
hopefully.
Alex Palou is just doing that, but better. Like, pretty obviously this season. I think it's safe to say I don't think Scott Dixon is like losing it by any chance. I don't think he's like out of his groove. I don't think he's out of his prime. I think he's still arguably in the prime of his career. But Alex Palou, I think, is the best. Like, obviously, like I know he won the championship last year, but it's still like almost controversial to say Alex Palou is the best driver on Chip Ganassi Racing this season. I know it's weird. It's weird. It's weird to say
It's
somebody
weird. It's
not
weird. I just
named
kinda-
Scott
I
Dixon.
I might have just like threw up in my mouth a little bit. It's just like it's
It
just
feels
like,
weird. It feels
it's so
sacrilegious.
weird not saying that Scott Dixon or Dario Franchitti is not the best driver.
Yeah, or even like Tony Kanaan.
Yeah.
You know,
Facts.
like
Facts.
it's weird. It's really weird,
No weird. I'm just like
What the heck?
and it's
crazy.
weird to think.
Hey, new
weird to
legacy.
think-
The Palou legacy starts. I think.
I could see Palou winning a pretty decent
I
amount of
could-
championships.
I could see Palou winning a lot of championships.
I see
but,
4 at least. I see 4 at least. If he runs like
I'd
he
see-
does currently, I see 4.
I'd say
I can see 3. I can see 3 for sure. I could see if he stays this consistent
That's
for
what
the
I'm
rest
saying.
of his career,
That's what I'm saying.
bro could get like 9.
Yeah.
That's
Like,
Anyway, all right, Daniel, tell us who won, bro.
so at the end of this race, the winner ended up being Pato Award. Palou
Woo!
couldn't catch up, and Regis
That's right.
BK just could never catch back up.
Mm.
So Pato Award won this race pretty handily, like not in a dominating fashion, but Alex Palou was far enough back that it just didn't seem like he was going to catch him, at least not enough to pass him. So Pato Award won this race, but none of those were the big stories from this race. 2 biggest stories from this race, name what? Well, 3. I'll say 3. First one, Colton Herta had probably some of the biggest and best passes out of this entire race, was pulling off some of the craziest moves and was wowing the field. But then he pulled a Colton Herta. And
I was
if you,
wondering. I was like,
if you don't know what I mean by this, I say this as a Colton Herta fan. I've gotten used to this. He will have the most jaw-dropping moves and just make you think that he's going to come from 15th and win the race. And then with about 20 laps to go, he'll just do something. He'll just try too hard and he'll spin out and finish in 10th like he did in this race. I thought this season he would figure this out and be more consistent. It seems like he's doing these mistakes a little bit more than he was last season.
He's done it twice.
And, and I say this
4 races.
with only 4 races, so theoretically he could figure this out, pick it back up, potentially become a championship contender if he starts winning a bunch. That happened last year. He ended up winning 3 races, but if he was just a little bit more consistent, he would have been in the hunt. It hasn't happened yet. I'm hoping he can figure this out. I don't know what the issue seems to be, but it's continuing to happen, and that's a little scary if I'm Colton Herta, Andretti Autosports, or any of the F1 teams potentially trying to get Colton Herta. Because if he can't seem to figure this out, it's going to ruin his stock for his F1 seat that seems to be rumored to happen in the next few years. So I don't know what's for sure going to happen with that, but that's something I noticed. And then the other 2 big names that I know everyone has already been talking about and wants us to talk about. Romain Grosjean, Graham Rahal.
Let me lean forward here.
It's a little like I don't know quite what to say about this, but Romain Grosjean was bumping into a lot of people. He made contact with Colton Herta early in the race, and late in the race, he made not only 1 bump but 2 bumps in like 2 or 3 corners with Graham Rahal, and not necessarily ruined Graham's day, but Graham kind of fell off a little bit because he was in 6th or 7th when that happened, and he ended up finishing 8th. I know he
was in
had to
fuel
coast.
trouble.
I know he
Yeah.
had to coast to the end of the race because he ran out of fuel, so it's not like a full thing, the full like reason for that. But Romain Grosjean ticked Graham Rahal off a lot, and did not seem bothered by it almost at all. Graham Rahal, on the other hand, was very bothered by it, and came up to Grosjean's teammate Alexander Rossi and was seemingly complaining about it, and also in post-race interviews was talking about how Grosjean was already, like in his words, he was saying he was earning a reputation as kind of a dirty driver, which I don't think is too much of the case. I don't think Grosjean has been super dirty for the most part. He's had his moments in IndyCar as a dirty driver, but it hasn't been super apparent in my opinion. But people seem to forget Romain Grosjean in his time as an F1 was for a lot of the time clowned by fans for kind of being a reckless driver, and that pretty much went on until his big fiery crash because people were like, "Oh," like they felt bad, which they should because like that's a scary incident. But it seemed like the narrative kind of changed overnight, and Graham Rahal just wanted to kind of remind people like, "Hey, the same driver that he was before that wreck, he's still a little bit too forceful."
Yeah.
So I want to get your guys' take on this of like who's not necessarily like whose fault do you think this is, but like just kind of what you think about this whole incident. I'll start with Tristan first.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, me, Jay, we watched this race. We had a little bit of a crowd at my place. We were all watching it. It was me, Jay, my girlfriend, and my parents were all watching Barber. Of anything, we were just watching Barber, and that happened with about 9 to go, and just like Graham beat him out of the corner. Like he beat him out of the corner, and then Grosjean got up alongside of him, just decided he was gonna run into him twice. And yeah, it's completely on Grosjean. I mean, it was a dirty move. He shouldn't have done it, and he should have gotten penalized for it. Because I've seen them throw out penalties for much less, and they didn't penalize him. And I don't know. I don't agree with the call by
IndyCar.
race control,
Yeah.
but you know, it is what it is. I'm definitely Team Rahal there. Graham Rahal for Rahal Lanigan Racing. That's my. They're a little bit of Lee Diffie slander for the video for the episode, but yeah,
You leave that man alone.
completely on Grosjean. Completely on Grosjean. So, Team Rahal for me. What do you think, Jay?
So I'm just gonna take you guys through what Grosjean was thinking as someone who does some sim racing, not seriously, but I kind of have an idea of what a driver's mind may be like. I don't know, but I would like to think I do. But basically, what Grosjean was thinking was, so he dives up the inside, and he makes contact first, but Rahal has the fast line on the outside of that turn, and that's the more dominant line. So Grosjean, I think he kind of misunderstood Rahal's line on the exit, and that second hit, I don't think it meant to be intentional. But at the time, like when it first happened, I was like, what is he doing? Like, why did he hit him twice? Like, I was like, that was so uncalled for. But after I watched it back and I was seeing it twice, I think he misunderstood Rahal's line coming out of the corner, and he was trying to pinch him wide, although he was behind. Mind you, he was behind. He should have just let Rahal have it. He was trying to pinch him out of the corner to slow his exit speed, so that way Rahal couldn't, like, basically get a better run down the front straightaway and he could pass him. But, I mean, he ended up passing him anyway, but, yeah. So that's how I kind of think of it. I'm Team Rahal. Was it a dirty move? I necessarily don't say it was, but, like, it's iffy. It could have been. I don't know. It could have been. But that's kind of how I watched it back. In the moment, I was like, what are you doing, Grosjean? What were you thinking or whatever? Like, everybody was, basically. But personally, I just think he was trying to pinch him out of the corner so he would kill some of his straightaway speed, maybe, and he just made some accidental contact. I don't know. It could have been intentional. I don't know. But that's my take.
Right.
So,
My take on this, I I know I've heard some people on social media kind of say this. I think it is on Grosjean. I don't think it was intentional because I think he is nervous to perform well. And what I mean by this is he outperformed his equipment last year at Dale Coyne Racing. Was close to winning races he probably shouldn't have been.
Mm.
He is now at Andretti Autosports, one of the big three teams. And he wants to perform well, and he knows he has this expectation to perform well because he's come close to winning in
Multiple different
not as
teams.
big team equipment. I don't want to say like worse equipment.
He went from B tier equipment to S tier equipment.
Basically.
Like that's pretty much what he went from.
So he's got a lot of pressure on him. So I understand that he kind of wants to prove people wrong so that he can perform well and like make people be like, oh, he did indeed deserve this ride. Because I think he did deserve this ride. Like, full disclosure. He deserved this seat.
Yeah.
And I think until he gets that first win, I think he's just going to be like too nervous and just making kind of questionable moves at times. Because I know like, so the next race on our schedule is the IMS road course race. And in both of those races last season, Grosjean got P2 and P2. What I think is going to happen, I think he's going to be in a position to potentially win the race, and then he's just going to overthink it and somehow not win. Because that seemingly happened last year. Twice. But he's in better equipment now. And so he's got a lot of this expectations on his shoulders, and he wants to prove people wrong, but it's leading to things like the Rahal incident, where he's just trying a bit too hard, and he's taking some people off. And I don't want him to rub people the wrong way, because I really like Grosjean, and I think he's a very talented driver, and I think he deserved the seat. But he's got to learn, like, I know you want to win, and you want to prove all these people wrong, but by kind of forcing these things that are preventable, it's not going to happen. And so I hope he figures this out. Hopefully like what I think could happen at the Indy GP doesn't happen. I'd love to see Grosjean get his first win, but it's hard to say that it's not a possibility.
I feel like once he gets that winning run, that's when he's really gonna figure out like, oh, that's all I had to do.
Right,
like
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, like I feel like once he gets that winning run, he's gonna know what he has to do. Because I feel like he's still trying to apply that Formula One aggressive mindset to IndyCar, and in some cases that may work, some cases that may not. So like, and I mean, he was in a Haas, a rich energy Haas. So I mean, they weren't bad, but they weren't the greatest. But I'm just being honest. I know. I'm just being honest.
I was like, don't talk about my baby like that.
But like, yeah. So I feel like he's trying to apply that same mindset that he learned from Formula One into IndyCar still, and he's not made that click off from Formula One yet. So I feel like once he gets that win, he'll understand what he needs to do for a winning run, basically, and he'll start winning more. I see him winning more once he wins one.
That's it.
Right.
All right, read that top 10, Dan.
All right. So our top 10 at Barber Motorsports Park. In first place, we had Pato Award, followed by Alex Palou and Rinus VeeKay on the podium. In fourth, we had Will Power. In the top four, again, super consistent this season. Who knows? Fifth place, we had Scott Dixon, followed by the other Scott McLaughlin in sixth. In seventh and eighth, we had Romain Grosjean and Graham Rahal. Like I said earlier, Grosjean passed Rahal because Rahal had to coast to the end of the race because he was low on fuel. In ninth place, the highest performing Andretti Autosports driver, not true. He was in qualifying. The highest performing qualifying Andretti Autosports driver, Alexander Rossi, followed by Colton Herta in 10th.
Yeah, it was a really interesting race. Alex Palou has officially taken over the championship. I guess the standings for the championship. Kind of a bad race by our former points leader, Joseph Newgarden. He fell down to third place in points. So reading the top 10 in points really quickly: Alex Palou, Scott McLaughlin, Joseph Newgarden, Will Power. Pato Award, our winner this past weekend: Scott Dixon, Rinus VeeKay, Romain Grosjean, Marcus Ericsson, and Graham Rahal. And then last thing, as we always say, Dan, who was your rookie of the week?
So the highest performing rookie this week was, let me pull it up real quick.
I do have one thing before we move on to say. So.
Yeah, okay. Go ahead while Daniel's
okay.
picking up his rookie of the week.
So basically, I feel like all the IndyCar races so far this season have been bangers. Along with the F1 races, in my opinion.
There hasn't been
along
a bad
with
race.
the F1 races, in my opinion. I feel like both the open wheel series so far have been really good. So
honestly, NASCAR's been really good too. Just NASCAR had that short track stretch. We had the short track stretch of 3 bad races. So I mean,
please God, don't let Indy be the short track stretch.
Let's go. Please. Let's hope.
I feel like Indy will be really good at short tracks, though.
Yeah.
So
normally is.
After further inspection, not expection, the highest performing rookie was Christian Lundgaard in 15th. This seems to be a pattern. Christian Lundgaard, very quietly, is not necessarily outperforming all the other rookies, but he just seems to be in a better position a lot of the time. And I don't know. I don't want to say he's going to run away with the Rookie of the Year race, because obviously it's still very close, and it's still
so
very...
close.
It's very open for someone to run away in a few races and then they fall back, because that happens with rookies.
Yeah.
But so far, Christian Lundgaard has looked like he potentially is going to be the one to take home the Rookie of the Year award. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. It is very close. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at Indy Boys Podcast. We have questions just like who you think Rookie of the Year is going to be almost every day. So yeah, make sure you guys go check us out over there. All right, before we transition over to NASCAR, I feel like we have to talk about it because we talked about it a little bit last week. Shout out to Linus Lundqvist for winning the Indy Lights race in Barber. The top 3 over there was Linus Lundqvist, Benjamin Peterson, and the main man himself, Stingray Robb.
Stingray!
Yeah.
So shout out to the Indy Lights. All right, let's go talk about NASCAR. So we'll start with the Xfinity Series. I'm not really going to talk about this race a whole lot because to be honest with you, not a whole lot happened. Josh Berry took it home with the victory, locks himself into the playoffs. Couple things happened to some part-time guys. Raja Caruth making his second start for Alpha Prime.
My boy Raj.
Had a suspension issue, hit the wall a couple times. Sucks for Raja, but he'll bounce back. And then John Hunter Nemechek, who was literally leading the race, had a brake problem. So it is what it is. Sucks for JHN over there.
That was my pick.
But yeah, this race overall was pretty solid. Junior Motorsports dominated. All 4 of their cars finished in the top 5, and that's really all I gotta say about it, is that Junior Motorsports continues to dominate at these 1 mile to quarter mile tracks, 1 mile to 1.5 mile tracks, and I could see it happening. Honestly, I thought Justin Allgaier was probably going to win this race after I saw him be dominant, but I mean, it's Josh Berry on a oval. He's always in contention. Yeah. So, shout out to the main man JB for getting that W, locking himself. He was my pick at the beginning of the season to win the championship. So, there you go over there.
Still proving it.
All right, let's go ahead and go over to the NASCAR Cup Series, the main event of the evening, or I guess of the afternoon, as this race was rained out. We got about 40 laps in, and then the rains came. And we never got back green on Sunday. So on Monday, earlier as we're filming this, literally the race ended 5 hours ago. We're gonna just talk about it. Hendrick continues to run well at Dover. Their 22nd victory on Dover Motor Speedway. That place was packed. Like, it looked incredible to see. Dover's one of my personal favorite tracks, so it was really cool to see the Monster Mile filled up. Chevy was very good this weekend. As we're seeing again, Chevy's really good. Toyota and Ford kind of switch off, and this week the switch off was Ford. Ford was not that great this weekend. So yeah, that's what I gotta say. I guess I'll read the top 10 really quick. Chase Elliott, first place. Second place, surprisingly, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. gets a runner-up finish. He's had nothing but bad luck, and it was amazing to see him running up front. Awesome. Rounding out the podium was Ross Chastain, finishing home third again. A little bit of controversy between the 1 and the 19 on the final lap. Didn't look like it was much of anything, so I'm not really going to talk about it there. 4th place, Christopher Bell. 5th place, Alex Bowman. 6th, Kyle Larson, who fought his way all the way back from being multiple laps down after an early spin. 7th place, Kyle Busch. 8th place was the pole sitter, Chris Buescher for RFK Racing. 9th was Kevin Harvick, and 10th place, rounding it out, was Eric Jones. Honorable mentions, we saw some really good runs by Justin Haley. He was running, I think he was actually leading for part of this race. Daniel Suarez, obviously, always runs well, just can never get the top 10 finish. Finished 14th. Cole Custer with a solid finish at 15th. Bubba Wallace finished 16th. Corey LaJoie was running inside the top 12, I believe, and got himself finishing 18th. However, some terrible days for some guys that have been running up front. Ryan Blaney finishes 26th, multiple laps down. That was insane. 29th was Joey Logano. 30th, Tyler Reddick. 31st, Kurt Busch. 36th, Austin Cindric. Penske did not finish in the top 25 this weekend. And that is crazy because Ryan Blaney, we've talked about how consistent he is. Obviously, Cindric has a win. Joey's been very consistent, so they're still in contention, but insane that happened the way it did. Yeah. All I really have to say is that I guess the drivers just decided they were just going to spin on Monday, and we saw a lot of 20-lap runs. We saw 2 wheels fall off. I mean, it's really all I got to say. It was just a very good Dover race. Chase Elliott becomes the 4th and final Hendrick Motorsports driver to win this season. So officially, all 4 Hendrick Motorsports cars are locked in to the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. We have 9 spots filled, 9 different winners in 11 races. There's 16 spots. I will say the question again. Do we have more than 16 winners this season? We'll start with Jay.
No.
He's shaking his head no.
No.
Daniel, what do you think?
I mean, it could happen, but I'm still going to stick with no. Simply because we know Hendrick is super dominant, but the only Hendrick driver so far to win multiple races has been William Byron. In fact, there have only been 2 drivers so far to win multiple races. Both Chevy drivers.
It's
going to continue to happen as we see a lot more of the Chevy drivers seem to be getting those wins.
Yeah. I'll just read off a quick list of drivers that have not won a race in the first 11 races. Okay? For you guys that have won races in the past 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan Blaney won, I believe, 3 or 4 races last season. Martin Truex Jr. won 4 races last season, 4 or 5 races last season, was in the championship 4. Hasn't won a race. Joey Logano, always good for at least 1 win a year. Christopher Bell hasn't won a race this season. Harvick hasn't won a race. Eric Jones, Eric Almirola, Austin Dillon, Tyler Reddick, Daniel Suarez, Kurt Busch, Bubba Wallace. These are all guys that are in the top 30 in points that could steal a win. Even someone like Ricky Stenhouse Jr. finished runner-up, and I honestly thought was going to win the race. Just if he had a little bit of a longer run, I feel like the 47 would have caught him. But it's crazy to see that these guys still haven't, they've been in contention but haven't been able to take it home yet. And it's insane. Chase Elliott regains the points lead. Officially is 1 point higher than William Byron. I'll read the top 16 in points for you guys really quick. Chase Elliott, William Byron, Ross Chastain are your top 3. Ryan Blaney 4th, Alex Bowman 5th, Kyle Busch 6th. Then we have Larson and Hamlin 7th and 8th. 9th and 10th we have Martin Truex Jr. and Chase Briscoe. 11th place Austin Cindric, who really has not ran well besides the Daytona 500. I just would like to say that he has not done so hot. 12th Joey Logano, 13th Chris Bell, 14th Kevin Harvick, 15th in the playoffs. If the playoffs started today, Eric Jones for Petty GMS Racing. I love it because he's been running well. And then rounding out the top 16 is Eric Almirola. On the bubble, 3 and 13 points back, 17th and 18th Austin Dillon and Tyler Reddick, the RCR boys. 19th is Daniel Suarez, 17th, and then in 20th is Chris Buescher. You can go on NASCAR.com and look at the rest. 21st and 22nd is the 2311 Racing cars, if you're wondering where those guys are. And Ricky Stenhouse is now in the top 30 in points, so that's pretty cool.
Mm.
And Brad Keselowski's still 30th in points. So yeah, crazy weekend at Dover. Still see the same guy on top in the points lead. So, I mean, not too much has changed. But yeah, overall, I would give Dover, I wish we could have got it in all on Sunday. I'd give it probably an 8 out of 10. I thought it was a pretty good race. I'm guessing you guys would probably rank around the same, maybe 7.5
Honestly,
out of 10.
probably. There's a lot of cautions for me, so I'd probably give it a 7.
There was. Yeah. What about you, Dan?
Yeah. I was only able to watch the last 50 laps, so
There was no caution in the last 50, so.
of the bit that I watched, I'd probably say 7.
Okay.
So
It
was
was
a fine
was a-
race. It wasn't amazing.
Dover is
but-
always one of those just races that's just cool to watch because it's the fastest mile oval
Yeah.
on the NASCAR circuit. So it's very cool. All right, let's go ahead and transition. Let's keep it on the NASCAR sort of trend. We have a very special weekend next weekend. It's Throwback weekend, my favorite weekend of the year. We're going to talk all about our favorite paint schemes. Okay, so you're going to see, I guess, somewhere on the screen, Jay's going to display for us these schemes, I'm assuming, right?
They're pulled up right now.
All right, so first one, I guess I'll go with my first scheme. I guess I'll do trucks first. My first one, I love Spencer Boyd's number 12 machine. Throwing it back to Michael Waltrip's 23 Hawaiian Punch car. It's just pretty. I love Michael Waltrip throwbacks. I love the old, like, he used to have Country Time, Hawaiian Punch. He used to have all these cool cars, and I love seeing those Mikey throwbacks. My Xfinity Series favorite goes to Jeffrey Earnhardt. Back-to-back years that Jeffrey Earnhardt has been my favorite throwback scheme. This 51 Dale Earnhardt. Not
Jeremy
Dale Earnhardt,
Clements.
Clements.
Yeah. Did I say Jeremy? Who
You
did I
said
say?
Jeffrey Earnhardt.
Jeffrey Earnhardt.
Oh, all right. Jeremy Clements in the 51. Throwing it back to those old Ricky Rudd cars. It's beautiful. Literally, it's beautiful. It's awesome. And rounding it out, my personal favorite Cup Series car, number 7, stacking pennies. Corey LaJoy. That is a beautiful car. They are allowed him to do the triple number, the 777. That I'm buying this diecast. I think it's beautiful. The pink, the yellow, gorgeous. That's all I gotta say. Gorgeous. Daniel, what are your favorites?
Okay, so my favorite, I'll start with the truck series just like you did. So my favorite truck series paint scheme is the Lawless Alan Jeff Gordon throwback.
Ooh.
I am a sucker for Jeff Gordon throwbacks because I really like Jeff Gordon's old cars.
Flames, bro.
Um,
The flames.
As much as I love the Rainbow Warrior scheme, bro, the Flames just, there's something about them. They're so
Cool.
versatile.
William Byron's running a Gordon Flames throwback too.
Yeah,
so.
I had to restrain myself from having 2 Jeff Gordon schemes on here. I really thought about it. I really did. But Lawless Allen's is just, it's so good, bro. It's so good. And then moving on to the Xfinity Series, I have Josh Berry in the Tire Pros scheme. That is a throwback to, I believe, Dale Jr.'s Looney Tunes scheme. I could be wrong about that, but I know it's a Looney Tunes scheme. And, dude, the creativity on this one is just...
Junior Motorsports always brings it out hot. They always.
Josh Berry cars always bring it out.
That's
Yeah.
facts.
Like,
Because
that
last
is
year's
true.
Josh Berry car was.
It was
hot.
dope. It was dope last year.
Yeah. Can't wait to see Noah Gregson's throwback scheme. Oh,
Yeah.
Wait, never mind. They don't do those.
But it's super sick, and there's even like there's small details like on the back where in the original car there was like a Bugs Bunny. Since they can't put Looney Tunes, they put like a cartoon rabbit's foot, which I just think is sick. Just like the small details on that, it's beautiful. Just chef kiss.
Hey, we did it at the same time.
And then going over to the Cup Series, I have the Chase Briscoe 14 that is throwing it back to Tony Stewart's Indy 500 car from when he did the double, and he was the first driver to complete both the Indy 500 and the Coca-Cola 600.
I believe he's still the only driver to complete both.
Yeah,
he's not the only.
He's not the only driver to try it.
Do it,
but he's the only one to finish both races.
Kurt didn't complete.
Kurt wrecked in the Coke 6.
Yeah, he
with like 10 to go.
Laps down in the 6.
With like 10 to go.
Dang, I didn't know that.
So he's not the only driver he's not the only driver to try it, but he's the only driver to complete it. I just think the concept behind the car is sick. I like that they were able to keep kind of the similar scheme to what Chase Briscoe's already running. I just think it's really cool. Jay, what are your picks for your cars this weekend?
So I'm going to start off with trucks as well, but mine, I'm going to have to go with Haley Deegan's Bobby Allison throwback. That car, that scheme is just... Yes, I love that scheme. It's just... It's so simple, but, like, so pretty to me. Like, I don't know why. It just is. But that's my truck throwback. And, yeah. Now, for the greatest throwback for the Xfinity Series.
That's facts.
Ty Gibbs, Bobby Labonte throwback. And you already know. You got to, like, it's Bobby Labonte. That's the GOAT, man.
The lightning of the interstate batteries. Oh.
Exactly. That's the only reason I like Bobby Labonte is because of his scheme. I'm not even going to lie. Like, his schemes were amazing. Now, Cup, I couldn't just pick just one. There was 3 that I had to pick. My first one is Kurt Busch's McDonald's throwback for Bill Elliott, the first scheme he ever ran in the Cup Series, or Winston Cup Series back then. But, yeah. So, then my next one is Harrison Burton throwing it back to Ward Burton.
This car is so good.
God.
The lightning bolt, it's...
everything.
You know, I thought that the number placement would bother me for throwback weekend. It doesn't. It literally looks fine. For some of them.
Yeah. For some of them it works. This one it works. This one it works. I just it's what it does it for me is the white, then the transition to the black, and then the blue, and then the
it just looks like Ward Burton's car. It literally just looks like it.
Exactly. Yeah, I love it. I love Harrison Burton's scheme.
Much better than Harrison Burton's throwback from last season. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah. All right. Then my final one, which was announced today. Denny's throwback to his 2016 Daytona 500 win car. This scheme, with actually this new number placement, works really well, and they need to bring this scheme back. That's all I need to say. But that's probably my favorite besides Harrison Burton's. And then, like, I guess Kurt Busch is like 3rd out of the 3 that I had, but yeah. Denny Hamlin's just that's a chef's kiss.
Yeah. Go ahead and let us know on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, what is your favorite throwback scheme of Darlington this weekend? We'll have a TikTok out on that. So yeah, super cool. Speaking of Darlington, we're going to Darlington this weekend, boys, and not only are we going to Darlington, but Jay, I think we're going to Miami.
To Miami.
I thought you were gonna go some Will Smith there. But,
we're going to Miami. You know what? Let's just start with our NASCAR predictions. Let's go ahead and start with that. Okay. NASCAR predictions. We got a couple theories over here. We got all 3 this weekend. Trucks, Xfinity, Cup, throwback weekend. I would love to pick the car that I think is the best throwback scheme, but I'm not. I'm going to go JHN. I think John Hunter Nemechek punches his ticket to the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. He's been there, been consistent, but always runs well. He's my pick there. If I had to go an underdog, I don't really want to pick an underdog besides John Hunter Nemechek, but if I had to, you know what? I'll just throw him in there just because I like the guy. And I think that he's kind of had an underrated season so far. And you know, you might call me crazy on this, but I think that Ty Majeski is a serious threat this weekend. So yeah, I'll go Ty Majeski as my underdog. Okay. Xfinity Series. Actually, no, I'll just Jay, who's your truck picks?
So my truck picks, I'm probably just gonna have to go with John Hunter Nemechek. Like, he's got the most experience on the track. He's driven in the Cup Series on that track, and I feel like he's just got the most experience in the series currently on that track. So,
Matt Crafton.
well, yeah, Matt Crafton too,
Yeah.
but I don't think Matt Crafton has ran as good as he should this year. But
It's facts.
yeah, so that's
Still in the playoffs.
That's my
Still in the
pick.
playoffs.
He is, but that's my pick for trucks. What about you, Daniel?
Okay, so for trucks, looking at these names, I'm gonna go with the driver running in the 41 car, Ross Chastain.
Yeah, baby.
Nice.
I don't know. He's having a good season in Cup. Let's bring a little bit of that over to the Truck Series. Let's just have an all-around good season.
The watermelon man himself. All right, let's go ahead and go to Xfinity. You know, for this one, I am going to be picking the guy that in my opinion, has the best scheme. And that man is Ty Gibbs. Tyler is going to get himself a win this weekend, and it'll be his 4th win of the year. And I can't believe that I'm already starting to get tired of Ty Gibbs wins. But Ty is going to win this weekend. My underdog pick is Ryan Sieg, just because that man's having an underrated year, and I think he deserves a little bit more attention. So, yep, going Ty Gibbs and Ryan Sieg. What about you, Jay?
All right, so I feel like I have to do the given choice here. So the man's dropping down to run Xfinity this weekend. I'm going with Tyler Reddick in the 48 this weekend for Xfinity. I feel like that's gotta be the pick, in my opinion. Just he's Tyler Reddick, and yeah. But I guess my wild card, I would have to go probably with Josh Berry again. I feel like Josh Berry can drive really good, and Darlington is a track that rewards drivers that can drive really good. So, yeah. So I feel like Josh Berry is definitely a wild card threat. Well, not even wild card, honestly. He's more like a second pick, but I'm going with Tyler Reddick and Josh Berry.
All right, Daniel?
Okay, so I'm also going to go with a Cup Series driver, but it is not Tyler Reddick. I'm going to go with the driver of the 88, Chase Elliott.
Oh, I forgot he was
very
in there.
talented guy.
Dang.
Obviously, we know he can win. Think he's going to be a threat. And then, let's see, for my wild card, who do I want to get? Do I want to go with just like a second pick or a wild card? That's what I'm trying to decide. Okay, this is a little bit of both. I'm going with the driver of the 18, Ryan Truex.
Okay.
Little bit of both. Little bit of both.
Okay.
There you go. All right, and then finally the Cup Series, the main event of the weekend. I've had this prediction set in stone for a couple of weeks now. I've said it was going to happen, and Daniel, you're going to be happy because Tyler Reddick is going to get a win this weekend, and I think it's going to happen. I've spoke it into existence. I've been saying it since literally Bristol Dirt that I think that Tyler Reddick's going to win at Darlington. Sure, we had a bad weekend at Dover. Oh well, it happens. I think he's going to be great. Darlington is one of those tracks that he knows how to drive around, and he's going to get it done. That's all I got to say. My runner up or my wild card pick, someone that's incredible at Darlington, and I honestly don't think gets enough love for it. He has won. He literally won the Southern 500, and no one talks about it. Eric Jones is my underdog pick this weekend, and yeah, that's what I gotta go. So I'm picking 2 Chevy boys. Okay. Tyler Reddick and Eric Jones are my picks. Okay. We'll go to Jay.
All right, so as I said for the Xfinity pick, Darlington is a track that rewards drivers that drive really good and are really talented. So my first pick for this weekend, or my winner, I'm choosing Tyler Reddick. I have him winning both races for, at least Xfinity and Cup. But my wild card is a really big wild card, and it's not because I like his scheme, okay? But I think sometimes, yeah, Harrison Burton.
He's good at Darlington. That's the
what
thing.
I'm saying.
He's good.
That's
what
I'm saying. So I feel like Harrison Burton is going to drive the wheels off that 21 this weekend and possibly get him a nice top 10, top 5 run this weekend. So I'd love to see it. I love Harrison Burton.
I could see it. I could see it. He was good at Darlington always in the Xfinity and Truck Series. So
Yeah.
no complaints there from me.
Yeah. Let's hear
All
it,
right, Dan.
Daniel.
All right. So, Darlington, like we've all said, you kind of have to know the track a little bit to get a win on it. So that's why my first pick for Cup is a man who knows this track like the back of his hand, Denny Hamlin. And then my wild card, I wouldn't say it's necessarily a wild card. Maybe it's kind of a wild card based on like the season. I'm going Joey Logano.
Yeah, honestly,
I can
that
see
works.
it. I
I'm
can see
going
it.
2 veterans that I feel like they have a chance this weekend. Those are my picks.
Yeah, there you go. And now let's go ahead and let's go back to South Beach. Let's go to Miami. Miami. I'm sorry that we have to do that bit, but that's all over my TikTok right now. Jay, Miami GP, it's happening. We have all the F1 merch being released. It's way too expensive, but hey, it looks beautiful. Let's talk all about Miami, man.
Okay,
Who's
so
your prediction,
as
maybe?
said plenty of times, we're in Miami for the Formula One Crypto.com Miami Grand Prix in 2022. So this race is hated by some or really anticipated by some, and I think it's more hated. Not necessarily. I guess hate's a strong word to say, but most people didn't like that this track is on the schedule, and mostly due to the fact it was built in a parking lot. But
That'll do it.
yeah, but it is what it is. So we're racing there anyway. It doesn't matter what everybody says. We're racing there. So what matters is what we got to pick here. And we're going to do a little different this time, guys. We're not picking just a winner, and we're not picking just a wild card. We're picking the podium, okay?
Ooh.
We're going to pick the podium from now on, okay? All right?
All right, baby.
So
Let's get this.
let's go with Mr. Daniel.
Okay, mine is going to be not necessarily like an out there prediction, but I don't think it's what you guys are going to predict. So, if we're going podium, I'm going first place, Charles Leclerc. That's a pretty well-known pick. In second, I'm going to go Lando Norris. And then in third, to complete a McLaren podium, I'm going to go Daniel Ricciardo.
Oh, interesting.
I feel like McLaren typically has those really good runs on kind of those weird tracks every now and then.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
And I would like to see, because didn't Ricardo say something about like if he got a podium he would jump in the water, and it's not real water.
Yeah,
And I want to see him.
Yeah,
I want to see him go on that
Yeah.
promise.
yeah, he did.
I can see it.
I just
So.
I'm curious. I'm curious as to what that might entail.
Let's hear
Alright.
it, Tristan. Let's hear your podium.
My winner this weekend, my podium, first place, George Russell. I think he finally gets his first win. Second place, we're going with the main man, Sergio Perez.
Yeah,
my
let's
runner-up.
go.
Rounding out my podium, this one might be a little bit out there, and it might have a little bit of bias towards it. Kevin Magnussen podium.
Wow. Interesting. Okay. I mean, it's not, and it's not.
Let me have my dream.
Hey, no. I know. I'm actually helping you defend it. It's not a bad prediction for a podium. Like,
Yeah.
something could happen in the strategy, and he just happens to be in third. So,
I hate and qualified incredible
yeah.
a couple weekends ago. So I mean,
So,
I can see it.
yeah. I'm interested to see how Miami's going to go. But my podium, I'm going to have, man, I really haven't thought about it much, but I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I feel like Verstappen's winning. I feel like Red Bull's going to pull off another one, too. So check a second. Now, this podium position is kind of getting iffy because I feel like Ferrari's kind of pulling back so they can last to the end of the season. Save some of their good stuff for the end of the season. So I feel like it can kind of be between 3 guys: George Russell, Lando Norris, Charles Leclerc, maybe Carlos Sainz on a good day, on a good weekend.
You know who else I honestly think is going to have a good weekend? Esteban Ocon. I could see it happening. I think
Alpine has been pretty good this season.
Yeah,
They've been very solid.
I think I could see it. I mean, Mans is 9th in points right now.
Yeah.
I could see good old SD having a good good old Esteban.
Days.
I know from what was that? Sweet Life is Zach Cody. But yeah. But yeah, those are our predictions, man.
Wait, I didn't finish. I didn't finish.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. So Verstappen, Sergio, and then my third pick, I'm actually gonna pick. I'm gonna secure it. Let's go with Leclerc. We're gonna go with Leclerc. Right. Those are my 3. So
yeah, man. Good predictions from Miami. I love that they're just deciding to do like Miami Vice colors, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful, and I love it. It's gonna be an incredible weekend in Miami. Incredible weekend in Darlington. The Lady in Black is gonna give some people some stripes on those beautiful throwback schemes. But rounding out this episode, thank you guys so much for listening to the Indy Boys Racing Podcast. Thanks for just sticking with us. I mean, this is episode 17.
That's crazy.
We did 17 episodes of this show already, and if we time this right, our 500 episode will be episode 20. And it's it's crazy, that's happening. The month of May is upon us, everybody. Make sure you guys follow us on all of our social medias, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok at Indy Boys Podcast. Subscribe to the YouTube channel down below at Indy Boys Racing Podcasts. We have a lot of cool stuff coming. Not just the show. We have vlogs coming. We have just fun videos. We have content ideas coming out with we have a lot of stuff coming. Really excited about this whole Burnout Sports experience, and it's going to be awesome. Download us, give us some rates on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Shout out to the Marion Phoenix for all of their support throughout all of this. And I guess now, officially, shout out to Burnout Sports for all of their help and love that they've helped us put together this show with. But yeah, do you got anything to say, Dan?
Shout out to fans, shout out to listeners, and shout out to Burnout Sports, because we've got some big things planned. And they're going to help us achieve those things. So I just want to say thank you to all of them. Thank you to all the listeners, because without you guys, we would have no idea what we're doing, honestly. And so just shout out to you guys, because we've got a lot of big stuff planned, and it's May, baby.
It's
May.
That's not all I can say. Be May.
It's already May.
It's already
May. No, clip that. Anyway, all right. Jay, what do you got going on, man?
Man, I don't know. I'm just real excited for the future of this podcast. Like our vlogs, content, TikTok content, our new designs we're working on and stuff. Just everything that's going to be happening here soon. It's going to be a crazy month, but this is probably going to be one of the best months that I've had in a long time. So I'm very excited. I'm very happy. And let's just see where this takes us.
500 officially 27 days away. Alexander Rossi 27, baby. And it's gonna be great. Go ahead. Signing off for Daniel Chaney and Justin Cox. My name is Tristan Grider. Have a good one, guys. It's May. Peace. Here.